evening. Good evening. It's time for Thoughtful Thursday. Well, it's almost time. We have another minute or so I'm going to let you listen to a little bit of what has become my theme song for a while now. For a few weeks, I've been playing this. I think I started right before the holidays. But the song is called Goodbye to Yesterday, and it's by one of my favorite bands. Hey sis, it's Incognito. I hope you can hear it. And like I said, if you get a chance, listen to it. Listen to the words that they're saying. That as I get older, the words really matter to me in a song. It used to be the beat. And I know I'm not the only one, but it used to be the beat that really mattered. But as I get older, it's the words of a song that matter to me. And this song just really says it all, especially as we're starting a new year. It talks about not stopping what you started. It talks about moving on, going on your way. Say goodbye to yesterday. And that's just perfect for the beginning of a new year, right? Because we want to stop some of the old things that we were doing that were holding us back and keeping us from achieving the goals that we set for ourselves. So it's time to say goodbye. And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you just have to say bye. And I was telling a friend that sometimes people that you love, you have to feed them with a long-handled spoon. Who else's grandmother said that? My grandmother used to say that. She used to say you have to feed them with a long-handled spoon. So sometimes that's what we have to do. Even though we love the person, we want what's best for them, but we have to keep our own peace. And in order to do that, we have to sometimes distance ourselves from some of the things that they're doing, some of the places they're going, some of the things they're saying, just so we can keep our own peace. And we know that we have to protect our own peace, right? If we don't protect our peace, who will? It's really up to us to leave all of that mess behind, right? So, yeah, I'm going to stop before they get me for saying I played too much of Incognito. But like I said, please take a listen to that song when you get a chance. It's called Goodbye to Yesterday. And really listen to the words. It has a nice beat too. But like I said, listen to the words and let that, soak in. And really see what you think about it. And let me know. Send me a text, an email, DM me, and let me know. Okay? Well, good evening, and welcome to the January 23rd, 2020 edition of Thoughtful Thursday with Cradle Inspired Enterprises. Whew. Had to take a deep breath to say that. I'm your host, Marcia Gibbs Cradle, and I'm so glad that you're here. I told you at the beginning of the year that we're doing a few things just a little bit differently, thanks to the feedback from one of my young listeners. See, that's what I love about young people. They'll tell it like it is, okay? They tell it like it is, and I appreciate her. She knows who she is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we're doing things a little bit differently this year. One of the things that we are doing is we're starting at the beginning of the live with a quote. I used to do them at the end, but what better way than to start with a quote? And so here's the quote for this week. Do things for people not because of who they are or what they do in return, but because of who you are. And that quote comes from Harold Kushner. And friends, I thought this was an excellent quote from Harold Kushner as we have been talking about being in kindness mode. And if you follow me on IG, if you don't, please do. But if you follow me, you know that I talked about it and I posted about being in kindness mode. And so our topic for this week is it matters how you treat people, with the subtopic of Be the One. So most of you have heard me say this before, but I have to give credit to my brother in love, and that's Ira Cradle. Ira says this all the time. He always says it matters how you treat people. And after I heard him say it a few times and I really thought about it, I said, you're right, Ira. It really does matter how you treat people. We're living in a time when people think it's okay not to be kind and to mistreat others simply because they can. Simply because they're in a place of power, they think it's okay to mistreat people. And like I said last week, people are trying to convince us now that left is right and up is down and that wrong is right. And like I said, in the words of Flavor Flav, yes, Flavor Flav, he said, don't believe the hype. Listen, don't allow the world to get you out of your position. We talked about that last week, that you have to play your position. When people get you out of position, they lead you down a wrong path. And we don't want to do that. We don't want to look down at others because their opinion differs from ours. We shouldn't do that. We don't want to talk to people in a negative and rude manner. We just should not do that. And we should not support people or elevate them to positions. We just shouldn't do it when they are blatantly doing wrong. That's just not right. And this is not proper English, but it just ain't right. Okay? So listen, being kind to others costs you nothing. It's free to be kind. While we should be kind and treat others well as a rule of thumb, people try to make it like it's not the norm. And I don't know about you, but I was talking to a colleague this week, and we talked about how it used to really matter how our neighbors saw us. If they saw us in the neighborhood doing something wrong, they would let our parents know, and we just didn't want that to happen. But I can tell you from experience that treating others well really makes a difference, and it can be beneficial to you. Not that you're trying to do something for your own self-benefit, but when you treat others well, you typically benefit from it. I've personally been blessed, not once, but twice this week, just because I treated others well. And at the time that I did it, I didn't even realize it because I'm trying to be a better person, trying to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I can't worry about what other people are doing because I can't control them, but I can control me. And so I had someone call me earlier this week and ask me if it would be okay for her to make a donation to my conference. And, she explained to me that she wasn't in a position to necessarily make a huge monetary donation, but she did have something that she could give to me and do for me. And for that, I'm grateful. I did not expect it. I did not see it coming. And she said it was because I've always been a good friend, a good friend. So it matters how you treat people. And then for the second thing, I had someone walk up to me and give me a pair of earrings. These that I'm wearing, aren't they cute? I just love, when the person walked up, they were like, I have something for you. And I was like, you do? And she said, these were sent to you as a gift for being kind. This person said you were always kind to them and they wanted to gift you something. And, like I said, it doesn't have to be things. It can just be, a kind word back to you when you're having one of those days. And the person didn't want me to know who he or she was. I know it was a she, but she didn't want me to know who she was. And I just thought that was really nice for her to see something and say, you know what, I think Marcia would like these. Now, these two acts were not something that I was expecting, but I received them. I accepted them both because I really do try to treat others well. So what are some of the things that we can do to treat others well? Not other wells, but what can we do to treat others well? Well, I'm glad you asked me that. And because I have a list, I love lists. And this is not by any means an all-inclusive list. This is just some of the things that we can do in just being nice and treating other people well. One thing you can do, and this is one of my pet peeves, hold the door for a stranger. Just hold the door because you see them coming. Again, it used to be, and I'm telling my age, but it used to be that especially gentlemen held the door for you when you went in the door. So take the time to hold the door for someone. Okay, that's one thing. Another thing is to greet everyone that you come in contact with. It doesn't cost you anything just to say hello. good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Say something, but especially when we're making eye contact with people, take the time to greet the people. You'd be surprised at the number of people who look at you and don't open their mouth. We have to change the narrative. We have to change the way things are done. Okay? Another thing you can do is send someone a handwritten note just because. I love getting a card in the mail, a little note. I love that because, most of the time we go to our mailbox if you still get things in the mail, but it's going to be a bill or some type of advertisement. But isn't it nice to get something that someone just says, hey, I just wanted you to know I was thinking about you. So that's another thing that we can do to treat other people well. What else can we do? Pick up the phone and call a friend that you haven't spoken to in a while. And just call them and say, hey, I was thinking about you. I hope everything is well with you and your family. Have a great day. Just pick up the phone. Simple, easy, free. Here comes another one. Volunteer at a local shelter. You can, if you don't have, I'm not saying that you have hours and hours, but if you can contact them and ask them what they need. So volunteer at a shelter. It can be at a soup kitchen. They always need help. So volunteer. Another thing that you can do is to teach your child, your nieces, your nephews, your friends, your neighbors, all of these people, teach them a skill that you have. For instance, teach them how to cook. You would be surprised at the number of young people who don't know how to cook. Everything is pop it in the microwave and that's it. So if you're a great cook, teach them how to cook. Okay, so you're not a great cook, maybe you're awesome on the computer. Teach them how to do things with the computer so that they can have a skill that they can use not just at that moment, but they have that skill that they can use later. Teach them how to quilt, how to knit. I so wish I had sat down with my grandmother. My grandmother made beautiful quilts, but I didn't sit down and learn. So I wish I had learned to do that. But that's just something, treating someone kind, treating them well. And like I said, this is not an all-inclusive list, but these are just a few of the things that we can do to treat someone in a kind way. So remember a couple of things, and we've talked about this. You have a destiny. You have a destiny. You have to be committed to the plan. And when you're committed to the plan, your destiny will fall into place. There's a special plan for your life. And if it's to be effective, you have to be in the right position and you have to do your part. And part of what you have to do is treat others well. Now, I'm not saying to let other people mistreat you, but what I am saying is do not feed into the negative foolishness going on around you. We already know that we're destined for greatness. We already know that no weapon formed against us shall prosper. We already know that people are going to try to intimidate or imitate and sabotage our plan. But remember, imitators ain't the real thing. Like I said last week, margarine just don't taste like butter. And as my daddy says, turkey wasn't meant to be bacon. So be your authentic, kind self. Be willing to go against the grain and do the right thing even when no one's looking. Be the one who sets the positive tone. Be the one who stands up and speaks up for what's right. Be the one who's marching for justice, kindness, and goodwill towards others. Be the one. That's it for this week. I do want to remind you that if you haven't registered for the 3rd Annual Sister Circle Summit, Committed to the Plan, please do so today. The Cradle Inspired Enterprises team is working diligently to ensure that you have another awesome experience. And friends, the Sister Circle Summit is an experience. If you can't come, consider gifting the registration to a friend, a colleague, a neighbor. Invite your friends and all of your coworkers. We owe it to ourselves to have an authentic, informative, and fun experience with our sisters. Don't let the negative and uninformed actions of others affect or infect your positive space. Protect your positive energy and calm experiences, otherwise known as peace. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with me this evening. I pray peace for you and all that you do, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. I love each and every one of you. Have a great weekend.